week will go good as well. So I wanted to make this video and pretty much just discuss why it's important for you to actually know what you want when it comes to a relationship while you're dating. So what that means is when you are the individual that says, "Hey, look, I want to get into a serious relationship. I'm ready to be with a woman. I'm ready to start a relationship," and you're dating with the intent to be in a relationship, there's some things that you really need to focus on and that you really need to know so that way you don't have the same frustrations and the headaches and go through all the bullshit that a lot of men go through that rush into their relationships, that rush into their marriages, and then next thing you know, they're divorced, they're single, they're bitter, and now they just don't know what to do. They're just disgruntled. So, getting into a relationship, what are the things that you need to focus on, and what are the things that you need to really know when it comes to that? So, when you're dating, the biggest thing that you have to understand and you have to focus on is what your vision of your ideal relationship is. And so, if your ideal relationship is something where you don't have any clue, then you're going to get any type of relationship that life throws at you because you don't really know what you want. You have to know what you want because when you know what you want, you'll seek out the things that you actually want, and the things that you don't want, you won't pay attention to it. It won't really catch your attention. You won't see it. It's just like, I know you guys heard it before where somebody says, "Hey, look, if I tell you to count how many red cars you've seen today, you probably don't really remember. But if I told you, hey, from today on until Saturday, count how many red cars you see, you're going to see a lot of different red cars only because I told you that, and that's what you're focused on." So when it comes to your relationship that you want while you're dating, you need to know exactly what you want in a relationship. You need to know what you want in a woman, what type of woman you want. Because the more clear that you are on the type of woman that you want when it comes to a relationship, the more clear that you are on the type of relationship you want, it's going to be much easier for you to understand that your thoughts create your reality. And when your thoughts create your reality, you'll start to notice that, okay, my vision is on something that I don't want. I'm focused on something that I don't want. And so I'm not getting it. Why is that? That's because you're focused on the wrong thing. So you have to focus on exactly what you want. Because when you focus on what you want, you start to do things and you start to have the behaviors and the habits that get you to where you want to go. If you're just now signing in, I'm basically talking about what you need to do if you are ready to get into a relationship with a woman and you're serious and you're dating with the intent of being in a relationship. That's what this live video is about. Now, when you say, "I don't know exactly what I want in a woman, I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for," that is your first problem. That is your first problem because, like I said earlier, is that if you don't know what you want in a woman, you don't know what you want in a relationship, life is just going to give you whatever. Life is just going to give you whatever. So if you don't know, just take some time and actually ask yourself, okay, what do I want in a woman? That's your first thing. What do you actually want? And you'll also want to write down what you don't want, and I'm going to explain why. And then when it comes to your relationship, what do you want and what you don't want? And the reason why you want to write these things down is because sometimes if you only focus on the things that you want, that's great. But say, for instance, that hypothetically, you say, okay, I want a woman that is traditional. I want a woman that enjoys cooking. I want a woman that does this, does that. And say, for instance, you don't know what you don't want, right? And say, for instance, you take a trip to, I don't know, you go to another state, you go to another country, whatever. You run into a woman, you have a really good conversation. She's very attractive. She's everything that you want to a T, but she doesn't live in your hometown. then what are you going to do? Are you going to say ship, or are you going to say, well, that's one of the things I know I don't want. One thing I don't want, and the same thing that I want to tell you is that it's very important to really understand yourself and get to know yourself, because sometimes, and I want you to listen closely, this is very important. Sometimes people get into relationships, men and women, they get into relationships because they feel that something is missing. They get into relationships because they feel that something is missing, and that other person is going to be the one that is going to provide that for them. That is the wrong way to go about that, because you have to understand, if you attach yourself, your self-worth, or what you think is missing from you to another person, another woman in this case, because I'm talking to my men, if that relationship doesn't work out, guess what? You feel that part of you is gone. You feel that part of you is destroyed. And whenever you attach yourself to anything, it doesn't have to be a woman. When you attach yourself to anything, that thing will always be able that thing will always be able to control you. It would always be able to control you. And so I say that because you have to get to know yourself. You have to understand what pisses you off, what makes you laugh, what makes you cry, what makes you happy. You have to understand all those things when it comes to yourself, because you have to be able to regulate yourself. You have to be able to lead yourself. And that's one of the biggest issues that a lot of men that are in relationships that they fail to do sometimes, is they fail to be able to lead themselves, so they end up not being able to lead the woman, and the woman ends up having to lead them, and they get frustrated, and then there's conflicts, arguments, and all kind of shit that causes the relationship to fail. But we're not going to go down that road. We're going to go back to what I was saying, and that's you getting to know yourself. What does that look like? What that looks like is you actually taking time with yourself. When's the last time you ever took yourself to dinner? When's the last time you took yourself to the movie theater? When's the last time you went on a trip by yourself? It doesn't have to be grandiose. It doesn't have to be anything major, but you have to take care of yourself. You have to get to know yourself. What do you like? What do you dislike? You have to understand those things. And then when it comes to things that piss you off, things that upset you, things that maybe make you anxious, things that just really get under your skin, you have to understand the reasons why. Because a lot of times those things happen, but it's just a symptom of something deeper. And I'm not trying to go deep and say therapy or anything like that. I'm just saying, just be aware of things. Be aware of why you operate the way you do, why you like things that you do like, why you don't like things you don't like, and just understand that that's who you are. That's who you are. But you have to block out everything. You have to block out listening to people that think they know your best interest. You have to block out things that you've learned from your parents, things that you learned from your friends. Because one thing you have to understand, and I may talk about this, you give me a thumbs up or write in the comments if you want me to talk about this. But one thing I'm going to talk about is how you have to be a king of your own kingdom. That means a king over yourself, and be able to govern over yourself and not allow someone else to be your king over you or to govern over you. And that it all boils down really to what you perceive, what you find that is valuable to you. Because if someone thinks that something is valuable and you don't know yourself, they will convince you that that thing is valuable, and you yourself, you're like, that's not valuable. But if you don't know yourself, you assume that it is valuable because somebody else said it was. And it gets a little bit deeper than that. I'm not going to talk about it in this video. I'll probably draw the diagram and maybe make a longer video that's recorded later on. But that's something to think about. And you have to know yourself, because there are some women that do know themselves, and they can take advantage of you. And it's not about blaming a woman or pointing fingers. It's just about you being smart about who you are and knowing who you are, and taking control over yourself, over your life. Because once you take control over yourself and your life, and you know what you want when it comes to a relationship, you know what you want when it comes to a woman, you know who you are, it makes the process that much easier because now you know what you want in a woman, you know what you want in a relationship, you know yourself. You get into a relationship with a woman or you meet a woman and she's definitely not what you want, it won't be that difficult for you to say no, it's I'm fine, this isn't going to work out. And what I said earlier is about your perception of value. If you're a guy that you know yourself and you know women or you understand what you want in a woman and you understand a relationship, if that woman that has the nice fat ass, right? If she has everything that you want, nice fat ass, titties, legs, thighs, whatever, and she comes your way, but she has an attitude or you see red flags, it's not going to be easy for you to be persuaded into staying with her or getting with her. But the guy that doesn't know himself, guess what? He's going to be the guy that is going to be manipulated by the woman, that's going to be in a relationship that he doesn't like. He may end up marrying her, get a divorce. All these things happen when you don't know yourself, you don't know what you want in a woman, and you don't stand on who you are. That's very important. It's very important to all those things I mentioned is very important. And it's simple. That's the thing. It's very simple, but the simple things that you understand over time and you apply over time will get you the result. Just like if I tell you, hey, every day for a whole year in the morning, just do 10 push ups. Now, you may be like, 10 push ups, that's not going to do anything. 10 push ups is nothing. I can do 20, 30. Okay, you're right. You know, you can do way more, but when are you going to burn out? You may burn out if you say, like, I'm going to do 30 a day. Okay, that's cool. Say, for instance, you get sick or you feel under the weather. You're not going to really feel like doing those push ups. You go, okay, I'll do maybe 15, I'll do half. But here's the thing, if you just stick to the basic thing, you're going to be able to do it for the rest of your life. It's going to be part of you, and it's not going to be something that is a heavy challenge that it derails you, or it's not going to be something that you feel like it's too much. And the thing is, doing the simple things over time create strength that you don't know that you had before. And I'm not trying to go left field. I know I'm talking about a lot of stuff, but the point I'm trying to make is you need to understand what you want in a woman. You need to understand what you want in a relationship, and you need to understand yourself. Constantly understand yourself. If anything else, constantly understand yourself, because that's going to build strength and that's going to be able to allow you to have a strong sense of self. Someone mentioned to me before, they were like, hey, I watch your videos and I noticed that you seem like you have a strong sense of self, right? And the reason why I have a strong sense of self is because I know myself. And when you know yourself, that changes everything. I can't stress that enough for you to know yourself, because that changes everything. But if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're struggling with something that you're just you know that something's not right and you're really trying to figure out what you need to do, you're trying to get some clarity, maybe you're in a situation where you don't even know what you want in a woman, or maybe you don't know yourself, or you're just stuck and you really need some type of help, reach out to me for a 45-minute call. We'll sit down, we'll chat on the phone. It won't be no video because I know a lot of men don't like getting on videos. I get it. But we'll sit down, we'll chat and see exactly where you are and figure out what you need to do to actually move the needle forward, whether that's figuring out what you want in a woman, whether that's figuring out what you want in a relationship, or if you're already dating or in a relationship and you just need some type of guidance and some type of clarity. Make sure you click that link in the description and schedule a call with me, and we'll move you forward, get you unstuck. But other than that, if you just hopped in here, I pretty much just talked about what men need to focus on when they're ready to get into a relationship. It's very simple. Go back and watch the video if you just popped in. And also give this a thumbs up, subscribe, and let a friend know that may need to know about this message that I put in this video. Other than that, I'll talk to you later. Give a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.